That Monday. I'm Katrina Potter, and today we're going to talk about pain and inflammation. We're going to dive into pain and inflammation as it is connected to the emotional root. And remember, we've been talking about our body often whispers until it needs to yell. So, my intention for today is to share with you connections to the emotional root behind physical health concerns pertaining to pain and inflammation, those specific areas, so that we can be clued in, dialed into those whispers, or maybe aware of what that yell is and see where we can do some of our own emotional healing work to lessen some of that physical pain that has manifested in the body. Now, there's a couple of great resources that I would suggest if you have not yet gotten these. This would be my suggestion. So we have the Heal Your Body book by Louise Hay. This book is wonderful. It goes into different connections between problem areas in the body. I'm going to read with you a couple of things pertaining to pain and inflammation today. And then the Symphony of the Cells book. This is great because there's different protocols that you can use, and I'm going to share with you one of them today. Those two things are awesome. And then there's a couple of other books that are great. Feelings Buried Alive, Never Die by Karen Truman, I think. If the book is right here, let me show you. Carol Truman. So this is the book, and this is great. It just talks about how emotions are passed down. Very interesting read. And then there's also a great book that I'm enjoying or have enjoyed in the past, the premise behind it. And it is called It Didn't Start With You. And it just goes over, again, the emotional connection between our lineage and our ancestors and things that are passed down. So those are two really great resources as you're dialing in on the emotional root behind things. So I wanted to share that for today. So let's go into pain and inflammation. Now, pain and inflammation, we want to think about our body in different quadrants or different sections. We have our meridians, we have our chakras being different energy centers. And then if you're looking into emotion code, it's in different sections as well. So our body, different parts of our body tell us different things. If we are experiencing, let's say, pain in the lower part of the body, like in that butt area, that's usually around safety. That's your root chakra. If you're experiencing pain more up in this area, usually around expression, things that you're leaving left unsaid, just more expression, tightness, contraction in that area. Okay. So kind of thinking in that way. Now, there's more that goes along with that. So what I wanted to share is in this Louise Hay book, which is just scratching the surface, but it gives an idea of what we can be paying attention to. So let's look at inflammation as it pertains to this book. Inflammation often due to inflamed thinking or fear. So if we are experiencing a lot of inflammation, we can ask ourselves, okay, what am I afraid of right now? Am I afraid of someone leaving me? Am I afraid of something happening in work? Am I afraid of people judging me? Where is there a fear connected? So that's that one. And then we also have, when there is pain in the joints, it can represent changes in direction in life and the ease of these movements. So oftentimes, if we're experiencing knee pain or hip pain, it's about the next step forward. There's some sort of resistance into stepping into that next area of life. And so we can ask ourselves, okay, what am I holding on to? What am I fearful of as I'm stepping into this next chapter? And then if we look at pain is often connected to guilt. So what do I feel guilty about? What has happened in the past that I'm struggling to let go of? So kind of listening to your emotions in that regard. Guilt is a taught emotion. Shame is a taught emotion, meaning when a baby is born, the baby does not experience guilt or shame. Someone in that child's life had taught that emotion. Shame on you, or I can't believe you would do that. Teaching that emotion, to feel bad. And then if we look at back pain, so different parts, remember I was saying different, like looking at the body in different sections, different parts of the body are connected to, or I'm sorry, different parts of the back are connected to different emotional connections. So if we're experiencing pain in our lower back, we can oftentimes that is connected to a fear of money or a lack of financial support. The middle of the back, again, connected to guilt, stuck in all of that stuff back there. Get off my back is the connection with that one. And then upper, lack of emotional support, feeling unloved, holding back love. So remember, we're talking about that throat area, holding back expression, connected there. It all is connected. So this is a really interesting book. It just gives that awareness of what could be going on and connecting us into listening to our body. So I want to show you an exercise that I'll often do before I go to bed. And it's just a great way to listen to my body. I call it a body scan. And it's just a way to listen to my body and ask myself, what am I needing to focus in on? So just going to show you. If you're in a place where you're comfortable to close your eyes, I'm going to have you close your eyes and you can do it right along with me. So if you can, get your feet grounded on the floor. And then what you'll do is, I often do this when I'm laying in bed, like right before I go to sleep. And what you'll do is get grounded, take some deep breaths. And then what I like to do is start from my feet and work upwards and just paying attention. Okay, is there anything happening in my feet? Do my feet feel tense? Paying attention. What about my ankle? Does my ankle feel tense? Anytime we get to an area where there's tension, just pausing, asking the body, is there a message? Why is my ankle hurting? Now it might go right into the literal. You just twisted it. Okay, so injuries often are because there has been stored energy for so long that area is become weakened. So if we can get away from the literal and go a little bit deeper, yes, you just twisted your ankle, but why your ankle? Why not your shoulder? Okay, so if we ask then, okay, but what else is happening in my ankle? Then you can just listen for the message. So going through scanning, you have your ankle, now passing up, legs. Is there any pain in the legs? What about the knees? Any pain in the knee? If there's pain in the knee, asking yourself, where did this come from? What is it that I need to pay attention to? What age did this pain start? And is there any life event that was connected to that pain? If there is, just bring it to your awareness. Continue to move up in the body, going to your hips, your stomach, your back, paying attention, your shoulders, your throat, your jaw, your mind. So that, you can go ahead and open your eyes. That is just very surface level of how I do that scan. So I just go through each of the different parts. I wasn't fully doing the actual scan with you just because I was also trying to explain it, but you go through each of those areas and then you just listen. So if you had, let's say, knee pain, then now you can identify, okay, I could find that the source of that pain was at the age of 8. Well, what happened at the age of 8? Maybe your parents got divorced. Okay, so did, excuse me, the life experience of your parents being divorced, the fear of moving forward. Remember, we were talking about the legs being connected to moving forward. Then it becomes, okay, so what was the fear or what was the concern at 8 years old when your parents were getting divorced? Not sure where you're going to be living, not sure if you're going to have to stay with your grandparents, whatever the case may be, so that now you can step into that. Then what I enjoy doing from that is going back in a meditation and having a conversation with my inner 8-year-old, just acknowledging the concern or the fear, really tapping into that and allowing that inner child to release that pain or that concern or that fear and consoling them, being the the communicator that that inner child needed at the time, and then allowing that communication to happen and reframing for that inner child. So that's just a quick little segment that I'll do. So now again, to share with you how this looks in the evening. So if I'm doing this before I go to bed, I'm doing a quick body scan, paying attention to what I'm feeling. And then when I find something, I go into that inner child meditation. Now, sometimes it doesn't go back to inner child. Sometimes it's right in that very moment. There's a fear that's seated, deep rooted in that area. So if that's the case, then I go into, okay, what am I concerned with right now? What is the fear right now? Am I worried about money? Am I worried about relationships? Am I worried about judgment? What is the fear that's happening, or what am I feeling guilty about? And then bringing it to the awareness, asking myself, is this a true fear? Is there a bear chasing after me? That's a real fear. Is the fear of judgment a real fear? Probably not. So then it can become, okay, what is the worst case scenario that I'm playing out in my body? And if that worst case scenario were to happen, what would be my action for the worst case scenario? Once that I've unraveled that, and when you're doing the exercise for the same thing, all of a sudden that fear, it's like, okay, here's the worst case scenario, but here's the action that I can take if that worst case scenario were to happen. And then we paint the picture for our body of what the best case scenario is. So I'm maybe worried about money. Okay, what's the worst case scenario? Lose my job, lose my house, whatever. Okay, if that were to happen, what would you do? Okay, and then you come up with the action that you can do. Now, that what would be the best case scenario? Best case scenario is I get a promotion, get a pay raise, whatever the case may be. I don't know what your scenario is, but you're playing around with the worst case scenario, the action for it, and then the best case scenario, because this is allowing that energy to move through the body, your body to work through it and release it. Now, oftentimes there are essential oils that you can pair in to allow your body to release it. Remember, I was talking about lemongrass and cilantro, both being great release oils. Wintergreen is another one if it's stemming from fear or a need to control, kind of that white knuckle feeling. A lot of times we're clenching up and creating this circumstance of pain. So allowing our body to release control. So wintergreen is another great one. And then if it's around fear, a lot of times, one of the yoga collections, so there's Anchor, Align, Arise. I really like Anchor or Balance, getting into more of those tree-based oils to really get into that grounding experience in the body. So my call to action for each of you today, and to continue on for myself, is to try to listen in on what those messages might be. What is it, just as you're listening to this little chat, what is it that already intuitively is popping up into your head? Ooh, maybe this is the connection here. And then on doing so, paying attention to those meditations, doing maybe some of that inner child or some essential oil application release work, and stepping into awareness so that stored energy can be released. Feel free to reach out if you have questions, or as you're doing this, you want to talk through it. My email is katrina@yourlifefuel.com, or you can connect with me on Instagram @yourlifefuel, and we can have more discussions there. But that's it for today, is we're discussing the emotional connection between our pain and inflammation in the body. Wednesday, we're going to go over more tactical routines that you can incorporate and chat more. Have a great day, everyone.